All right, we are back at the pit today to do a little cooking. I don't like to say Happy Memorial Day, but we do celebrate Memorial Day to celebrate those that came before us, that fought for the things that we love in this country. So a moment of silence for those people. Their sacrifice never goes unnoticed. So what we've got here is we have a pork loin, and this thing is about 8 pounds. We are going to cook a pork loin. Now I know what you're thinking. I already know what you're thinking, and you're right. But barbecue, you did one of these before. Long time ago I did. You're absolutely right. Today we're doing something a little bit different. And a lot of people I know, they like to get their roasters out, or they'll get a tenderloin and they'll throw it in the crock pot for 8 hours, and they got nice tender pork. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But if you've ever wanted to try something a little different with a loin like this, we're going to show you how easy it can be to do. Of course, opening the package is another story. Let me get this out of the way so we don't make a mess over here.
Juicy.
Juicy. All right. This is now a loin. This is not a tenderloin. This is a loin. You can see there's some decent marbling in it. There is a little bit of hard fat here and there. I'm not overly concerned about trimming that out, other than little bits like that we just peel right off, apparently. Fat cap on the back might be a little different story. So what we're going to try to do is we're just going to try to thin that out. Now maybe we get a little bit of meat off of it. Maybe we leave a little fat behind. That's perfectly fine. However you want to do it. Now I use a fillet knife to do this because it's skinny, not like me, and it's easy to get the fat coming off without destroying the cut.
It's skinny like me.
Skinny like you, that's right. Now see, look at that. Why would you leave that on there? Yes, it's juice. Yes, it's flavor. Rest assured, we will need neither of those, with the exception of what's inside, once we're done with these today. That I can promise you. At least I hope. You can see there's still a lot of fat on there. And we don't want to cut it all off, because then we lose flavor and juices. And as we said in our brat video, I think? Lord knows we don't want dry meat. Dry meat's a sacrilege. It doesn't feel very good either. Anyway, so we're just taking that hard fat cap off, I guess you want to call it that. I always looked at it on a brisket as a fat cap. On here, I guess maybe it's like a fat sombrero? I don't know. Anyway. And we'll probably fry this up and let the dogs have a little treat later on today. Once we get to cooking, take care of that. Besides, I'm going to need a little bit of fat rendered into my pan for mushroom side dish, as I always like to have. So, this for the most part is about all I'm going to do to this. We don't need to do a whole lot to it because it's not going to be, that crazy or difficult to deal with. And it's not going to destroy the meat or give you just a bunch of gristle to chew on. Now it gets interesting, all right? You notice we have one that's more of a flatter end and one that's more of a rounder end. We're going to split this thing actually into 3 pieces. I think, yeah. Get out of there, dogs. Excuse me a minute. Get out of there, dogs. Even my old blind 16-year-old wiener dog, Jack, when we had him, he could sniff out that grease any time of the day. So I'm going to split this into thirds. I'm going to go with this rounder end about right there probably. So we're going to have probably in the neighborhood of 2.5 pounds or so with that one. And then we'll cut this in half. We'll do that. And then we've got the flat one on the end there. Let's get to getting, shall we? What we want to do is we're going to cook this 3 different ways at once. This will show you 3 different techniques you can use to do what's best for you. My hands are slimy, but they'll be all right. Whoops. Here, have some of that. Wasting juice, man. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to take the flat one and we're going to inject this one. And now what we've got in here, as you saw, we've got some orange type flavored drink, some sliced ginger, and some crushed garlic. I think that's all we're going to use on it, yeah. And we're going to put this in a bigger bowl, but that way we can actually get this marinated. So one thing we're going to do is marinate today. Once again, marinate, no ginger, no skipper. Ginger's already in the bowl. Now another way you could do this if you don't have an injector, if you're not real familiar with how to use injectors, whatever you want to say, you can take a fork and actually just stick a bunch of holes in here with a fork, and that'll give you some penetration into the meat as well, so you can have your flavors in there. I like to inject because especially if you're doing like a brisket or a thicker piece of meat, like if we were doing that round one, we would want to have a little more penetration than we get with just using a fork. But that would work just fine, especially for this flatter one. If you're doing a smaller piece of meat, that'll work just fine. Don't forget, doing this outside is much easier because hosing the patio down versus having to mop the floor in the kitchen is great. Not to mention when we were peeling the garlic, we were able to just kind of sweep things off and all natural ingredients in the garlic peels. Nature will take care of itself. Okay, so there we've got some injection in there. We're going to take the rest of this goodie, put it right in there. Now you can see we've got a very nice marinade going on. You know, I probably should inject the other side too. That'd probably be a good idea, wouldn't it? Barbecue's a little slow today, but that's all right. Yeah, Memorial Day, you know, it's meant for the ones that made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. But I also do like to recognize our active and retired service members that didn't pay the ultimate price. But rest assured, their sacrifices also do not go unnoticed. So we want to say a big shout out to all of our military members, past, present, and potentially future. There we are. A little bit of injection on the other side. That'll help penetrate that fat cap too. We're going to let that sit for a while. We'll go on to the next one and get that one. Second one is our medium. Okay, there's our medium. The thickness on that one's big, medium, and flat over there. Now what we're going to do with this one, where did I put it? There it is. I find it. We've got some peeled garlic cloves right there. We didn't smash those. We just peeled them. And we have done this. We actually did this on a round die roast, I believe it was. Quite a long time ago. We are going to take them garlic cloves and we're just going to stuff them right in the meat. And preferably keeping the skinnier ones is much easier to do this with. Because the fat ones, you got to cut a big hole in them and it's not as much fun. But that's all right. We got plenty of skinny ones here. We're going to make these. Will you get over here? My hands got slippery from all that other stuff. Now, the idea behind this is pretty blatantly obvious, is this fresh garlic that we just peeled about 10 minutes ago is going to release all that flavor directly into the meat as we're putting it inside. And the bonus round for this is if you're a big fan of garlic like we are, you can pull these out of here. You can leave them in the meat and eat them right directly along with the meat, or you can pull them out and eat them just like they are. It's like having roasted garlic. It's absolutely fantastic. Get in there. See, you get fatter like this one, and I have a hard time pushing them down in, but that'll be all right. Like I said, that'll be an easy one to pick out to taste test later. It'll be yummy. Yeah, see, these are huge. Those won't go in there very well. So we got one more we can probably use if I get a little bit of a cut in there. You can see all that nice garlic hanging out in there doing its thing. I need a plate. Jeez. Sheesh. We're just going to put that one aside on the plate as well. Let it rest. Let it do it. Now the third and most difficult one that I'm going to do, which I have not done this in a very long time. In fact, we had a hard time finding my string to do this with. I'm going to attempt to butterfly this thing open, make it flat, so it's only about a ½ inch thick all the way across. And we're going to stuff it. So let's see how Stammer Fab's knife sharpening skills went. not too bad. And again, I like to use a fillet knife. A lot of guys will use a butcher knife or a boning knife. You use what you're comfortable with. This one works for me because it's long and skinny. Again, not like me, more like him. But we want to try to keep this, give or take, a 1/2 inch thick. To try to get as much of the meat rolled out as we can. And I'm going to butterfly it in both directions. Shouldn't make any difference. Again, I'm not as good at this as I used to be because my hands don't quite cut it like they used to. Cut it. I'd like that to be a little thinner in the middle. I might do another one. Probably should have done it one way, but it'll be all right. The important part isn't what the inside of the meat looks like. The important part is going to be putting the stuffing in, tying it up, and then cooking it the way we're going to cook it and make it taste oh so yummy. So I think I'm going to leave that flap like that, relatively thin there. I think we'll be in pretty good shape. So now what we're doing is just waiting for the stuffing. Now Miss Kathy's been in the house taking care of that. So we'll be back in just a second and we'll show you what we're going to do with this. So here's our stuffing, and we're literally going to stuff this pork loin with stuffing. Because that's fun, right? You can come. You're all right. That's fun. So, again, I didn't butterfly out the way I'd hoped it would partly because it was just grainy that way and whatever. That's perfectly fine. That isn't going to hurt nobody's feelings any. It'll be all right. We are going to put a layer of the stuffing on, fold the flap over, put more stuffing on, and then we're going to tie it up. Make it tell the truth. There we are. Yeah, this is getting pretty. Yeah, we'll just use our hands. I washed my hands yesterday, I promise. Oh, that's hot. Holy
I was going to say.
Holy moly, that's hot. Yeah, we'll use the spoon now, thanks.
Just came off the stove.
Fresh from the freezer. Anyway, and you can use your favorite stuffings. I've done, like when I did the meatloaf video several years ago, we did spinach, cheese, vegetables, things like that. You put in what you like if you want to try to do a stuffed loin or a stuffed meat of some kind. Anything you want to do is perfectly all right. Because remember, we always tell you, gang, it's your kitchen, it's your food, your rules. Anybody that tells you otherwise, well, they're just barking up the wrong tree. Used to have this little. So there we got some stuffing that's going to go in there real nice. Like, man, we've got a little more, huh? Probably save some staple. All right, let's call that good. There we are. Now we're going to have to do is get the old butcher string. I think I'm going to cut about 5 or 6 pieces of this. We're going to make our ties for our meat because this thing will fall apart if you don't tie it up. Oh, I'll show you. I got to show you I almost forgot to show you guys. We got to do show them the dry rub too. We'll show that in just a minute once we get these all cut up. Now, under normal circumstances, gang, if I was going to do a marinade like we are on the one piece of this meat, I would probably do it the night before, or at least hours before. It isn't necessarily required because we're doing an injection, but it just seems to go better that way for me. She's going to help me. Thank you, dear. So we're going to roll this bad boy up like that. Go ahead and slide one under there. There we are. Pretty simple. You just tie your shoes and put it together, right? Double tuck and go to town. There you are. Look at that. Put your finger on it, barbecue. There we are. There's one. Yep, there you go. That's, yep. Push it in the hole. That one's too short. Okay, we'll try that one on the other end maybe. Again, I haven't done this in a while. Sometimes I make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes because you know what it's going to affect? Absolutely nothing.
know what we're doing, but there's 70 years of cooking between the two of us.
Stammer Fab's spending his time in the kitchens as well over the years.
I've got like 6.
Yep. So we're doing pretty good. She knows what she's doing. I don't have no idea.
I don't either.
You're on the camera real good.
That's what I usually run.
That's all I'm good for.
I gotta pick on you, man.
I'm just the camera guy.
You've been a great help to me over this summer. Or this spring, I should say. It ain't even summer yet. It's not even June yet. But we've got some fantastic weather today for Memorial Day, and we're really enjoying it. Sometimes when you get older, your fingers don't want to cooperate as well either, so you need a little helping hand. In this case, a helping knife. There we are. Ooh, that's going to be a tight one, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's all right. We'll make it work. There we are. I could have got a ruler out and measured all the pieces and made sure they were just right and everything. Nah, we didn't do that.
It's too tedious.
Yeah. We only have one T. No D's. A whole lot of E's. So there's our ties on there. That'll keep our stuffed pork loin together. We should be ready for the grill. Now, before we get to that point, though, let me get some of these leftovers off of here. We don't need all that leftover under. Short ones I'm not too worried about, but these long guys are kind of going to get in the way or burn or something. So let me get a plate. I'll put this aside, and then I'll talk about the dry rub real quick.
Watch out.
Come on, plate, let's go. There. Move over, Rover. Okay, there we go. And that one could just rest on there for a little bit while we get other things done. All right. Now, get this table wiped off a little bit, and we'll talk about the dry rub real quick. There we are. Now, this is a dry rub that we have made. Now, you can do anything you want for your dry rubs. If you like salt, pepper, garlic, just do that. This is actually a local seasoning we've featured before called Pleasoning. Now, this one's specifically designed for pork, and you can see it has a little bit less sodium, so on and so forth. We also enhanced that with a little bit of ground paprika, ground cumin, white pepper, more powdered ginger, dried ginger that was ground and pounded and made into a nice thing for our dry rub. So we're going to hang on to that for just a minute. You've seen us dry rub before. Probably not necessary to see that again. Let us get things going and we'll show you the next steps. Okay, so before we get started on these, I just want to show you what we're doing with the grill here today. We got offset heat like we always do. We did a little bit of the minion method, which we've talked about before, with hot coals on the top, untouched coals on the bottom. It'll burn down as time goes on, giving us a little bit longer, slower cook. We've also got some hickory wood in there. We'll be adding more as the cook goes along. Now it's time to dry rub. So here's our garlic stuffed loin. We are gonna give it the magic treatment of dry rubs. Now again, you use your favorite dry rubs. Brown sugar would be a good thing to put on your rubs. For a pork, I think that tastes great. We're not trying to cut down on the sugar a little bit right now, so we're gonna just try to get every corner of this guy. Get that fat cap as well. Now, here's something else I'm gonna do that I didn't talk about before, but we have talked about it in the past in general. In order to get through your fat cap, sometimes you need a little bit of extra help. So we're going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of cross hatching. Some people will do this with their ribs on their silver skin, the membrane that you don't want to try to eat because I think it's too tough, but that's just my opinion. This will help us get a little bit more penetration of the flavors. The fat cap's still there to kind of help protect the meat as well as to give it that moisture that we need, rendering the fat into the meat. Don't forget the ends. There we have one. Let's put him back on his plate. We're just about ready to get started. I just have to brush the grill and we'll be in business. Here's our wrapped one, or our stuffed one that's got all the strings on it and that wonderful stuffing inside. Again, pretty much the same thing. We just want to cover as much as we can, as thoroughly as we can. You use your techniques that you like. This is the one I like. I like to use a shaker. It just makes it easier. And you can use store-bought stuff. That works perfectly fine too. We've used store-bought stuff in the past. This time we're not using it just because I wanted to do our own thing. We do like to feature that seasoning because they have a whole bunch of different flavors that you can buy for pork, for seafood, general use, and the original one is more for like just any kind of foods you're doing, whatever. Now it's gonna get a little messy. So here's our marinated and injected one, just to give it a different flavor. This is our skinny one that we have. I'm gonna knock all the chunks off of the ginger and the garlic just to kind of get those out of the way. Put that right in there. There we are. And once again, giving it ye old dry rub. I don't know why they call it rub. A lot of people don't rub these things. I pat them in. They call them dry rubs. I don't know. Maybe some people do rub them. Get the massage and nice and deep like. Whatever it takes. You make it how you want, you know? There we are. We got some nice coating on there. And again, the paprika, the coriander, things like that. Mustard. We got a little mustard in there, dry mustard. Those things are all going to give you great color and great flavor. So they're highly recommended to use. But again, you have to use what you like. Let me go brush this grill off. We'll be right back. We'll get them on there and get them. All right, so we've got our grill clean. We got our fire warming the grill up. Waste not, want not, right? You guys know that one by us. We don't like to waste things. So we're gonna take that marinade with all those goodies in there. We're gonna put it in this skinny little pan, and we're gonna add a little more sunny D, just to give us some liquid to deal with. And you guys have known how we do a liquid pan, a water pan, if you want to call it that. However you want to call it, there it is. All right, here we go. Our Weber 22-inch performance grill that we affectionately call King Kong. We're gonna take our 3 pieces of meat. We're gonna put them away from the heat as far as we can. This one especially I think is gonna cook a little bit faster because we've added the stuffing to the middle. So I'm probably gonna put that one farther away. The thicker ones we'll put a little closer to the front, or the more solid ones. Put those a little closer to the fire. Now, also something that is very important to us, those of you that have been here for a while know, we got to get the dog's treats on the grill and get those fried up. But we're also going to add that water pan, or that liquid pan that we saved all of our drippings and our marinade from. And again, we're getting a little tight on space, but you see how much we can put on that grill. And that's just a Weber grill. Nothing crazy about it other than this cart that comes with it. But that's it. We've got our hickory smoke going in there. We've got our fire going in there. We're going to tend to the dogs' treats that they get. Once they're cooked, we'll move things around, probably rotate, to get even cooking on the meats. It's probably going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours. Probably going to be looking for 165 internal temperature, so I know that they're thoroughly cooked and food's safe. We'll show you that after we pick up all the stuff the wind blew down. See you in a bit. So we're going to use a little side dish here, just something extra that we're going to put on the video now. You saw us make the dog's treats in the cast iron pan. We've got a little bit of leftover grease in there. Probably not the healthiest thing to do, but I can guarantee you they're going to taste good. We're just going to throw them mushrooms right in there, let them cook in that pork fat, put them right back on the fire. 5-10 minutes, those will be done. Also, so you can see the other side dish we're doing mashed potatoes. We bought baby reds. We left the skin on them. We are going to crank up the heat on those, boil some potatoes. We'll show you what they look like when they're done. Things are going real good. Our temperature on our meats is over 100 degrees internal already. Mushrooms are done. Come on over here, get you some of that. Definitely different than cooking them in butter and garlic, ain't it? That's pretty damn good. I like it. Yeah, let's take a look and see how we're doing over here. Potatoes are still not coming to a boil, so we're going to crank it up a little bit more. get some high heat going. Take a look at this so far. Now I'm gonna move this pan over because I want this to boil. Now this provides steam, as you guys know, that will help to, oops, we knocked a little bit of the stoofing out.
Not the stoofing.
Not the stoofing. These are over 100 degrees. I'm gonna leave them the way that they are, just rotate them because we've got the fat cap down and that should help protect our meat a little bit. I can't even, my right hand still bothers me a lot, so we want to keep them away from the flame. I think we'll just leave it like that for now. This one's doing really good. Let's check the temperature one more time, just because we can. And that way we know how far we're coming along. I checked it about 5-10 minutes ago, maybe 20. And like I said, they were about 95 to 100 degrees internally. About 110 right now on that one. About 111 on that one. And about 118 on that one. So that one is cooking a little faster, even though it's farther away from the heat, because it's not a solid piece of meat anymore. We incorporated that stuffing into it. So we're going to get them again to about 165. Probably pull them off, let them rest for about 10 or 15 minutes. But I got something special I'm going to show you that I've never tried before. We're going to try something on one of those 3 pieces. Stick around. All right, so we got about 130 on this one, about 120 on this one. You can see the garlic's trying to squeeze its way out, push it back in. But I have taken something a little bit different that I have actually never tried doing before, and that's apricot jam. Ooh, that sucker's hot. Imagine that, it was on the fire. So the one that we did with the citrus injection and everything like that, well, we're gonna glaze it. And we're gonna use this apricot. I always want to say apricot. So it's gonna take the dry rub a little bit, it looks like, but that's all right. We'll just dab it on, it'll be better. This is gonna be a little bit of a glaze that I have never used before. I've used mandarin oranges, I've used marmalades, I've used grape jelly, I've used all kinds of things. Never used apricot before. So we're gonna give that a shot. We've got a little bit longer to go, but they're getting close. So stay tuned. All right, so what we got here is we got a big bowl. I got a big bowl. Put some butter and some milk and some minced garlic in there. Our potatoes are done. Letting them drain for a minute inside the pot. Getting the wah. You can do it. Oh, hey, cut it out. Got to get the water to drain out pretty good. Looks like we're in good shape. Again, peels and all are going right in here. And the reason I'm using milk and butter is I like creamy potatoes. I'm pretty sure everybody does. Now, normally we'd use the Mix-Later 9000. Today, we're going old school. We're just gonna mash them. Our old masher, probably older than me. I don't care. I like mashed. Look at that. Those are nice and done. Very well done. Good job, barbecue. You did something right. Nothing too crazy about this. You guys know how to make mashed potatoes, I'm sure. These are going to taste 1,000 times better than the ones you get out of the box. It's just not for me. I like my food to be real. So we're going to mash these up.
Mash, like the monster mash.
He did the mash. It was a graveyard smash.
A monster mash.
It caught on in a flash. Anyway, might have added a little too much butter, but that's okay. Mushier is better. You see how easily those things mashed up, even with the skins on them? Now that'll give you some more of the vitamins and things that potatoes do provide, which isn't a great amount other than starch. But those things, like most things that we grow in our gardens and in our farms, they lose a little bit when you take the peel off. Well, we'll just leave the peel on. And we'll see what happens. Oh, that's nice. Look at how creamy those are. Even with the skins in there. All right, let's see how we did. Let me grab some spoons. You know about this part. Pitmaster privilege.
An assistant.
Yeah. Good taters. We'll be happy with those, I think.
Yep.
We did good. Another high five for the good guys. All right, let's get them aside. Now we've got one of our 3 loins that's pushing right at temperature. So we're gonna pull it off. I don't remember which one it was.
Uh-oh.
Good Lord, now I can't remember. All right, we'll check it out.
I believe it was the garlic.
I kind of tend to agree with you. Garlic is, he's over 150, over 155. I think it might be the apricot. Yep, the apricot's about done, I think. Yep. And we'll check this guy. He's pushing 150 also. So look at how much of that liquid is gone. That's been hopefully giving us some moisture in our grill. Help keep the meats moist and tender, like we like them. Let's pull the garlic. No, it's the apricot we want, right?
Yep, got one.
Okay.
Yep.
Before I do that, let me do this. Now, under normal circumstances, I like to wrap the meats, put them back on the fire to help us increase the tenderness like you would with a rib, brisket, all that. She's gonna want to fly. Things like that. We don't really need that when we're doing a loin like this, but we do want to just let it rest for a few minutes so the meat and the fat can render into the meat. Excuse my language. Put the lid back on for a minute. So we're going to probably let this sit for a good 15 minutes or so. And we're going to carve it up. Unless I get impatient between then and now. Might be 5 minutes. We're going to wrap that up, let it rest over there. I'm not real crazy about wrapping them for a really long period of time or cooking them like this because we want that, not really a bark to it like you get on a brisket or a rib, but we do want that seasoning to stay on the outside. It's already done its job. We'll see what happens. Stick around. My patience has grown thin, so guess what? It's time to cook. Let's get some gloves on though, because this one's going to be sticky. Extra sticky, just the way you kids like it. Let's see what we got in here. Oh my. Take a look at that. That is glazed with apricot. It looks amazing. And my tongue has disappeared. There they are, right where I put them. How dare I? Let's see what we got as far as flavor and tenderness and doneness goes. Now remember again, this was the thinnest one of the three we had, right?
Yep.
So we marinated that and we injected that. And we'll put that over there for now. There we are. Good enough. Let's see what we got. Doesn't cut too bad. Very, very juicy as you can see. We're going to see what it tastes like. Now, a lot of times when I do a loin or a pork loin like this, what I'll do is I'll cut it into like 3/4 inch steaks, if you will. She's very juicy. Do the honors, man. You got it. How did we do? Fantastic. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Ooh, is that ever good? I wasn't too sure about that apricot. I think I like that. Yeah.
And
that's all it is.
that is all it is right there.
We warmed it up over the fire, so it got a little runny so we could spread it on easy. Oh, is that ever good?
Very good.
Very good. Nice job, barbecues. We did great. All right, let's check on the other ones. I think we got one that's probably done. We're gonna go check that. Oop, there's a knife there. Lulu's playing with things out here. All right, let's see what we got in here. I think our garlic one's gonna be about done. 166. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's do it. Now, are you a big fan of garlic like I am? Are you crazy about garlic like we are?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because I want you to have a special treat on this.
The garlic.
So we're going to move. This guy's about done. He's got about just a few more minutes and he'll be done too. So we'll do that one in just a minute. Thank you for getting that. So let's take a look at what we got inside of here. Again,
I'm good at
you see? Here's the bonus part.
good internal
If
temp.
you like garlic, like we like garlic, roasted garlic is where it's at. God, look at that. So good. Look at that. You can leave them in there and have bits of garlic in your meat like that. But for this purpose, we're just going to try the outside. On the outside. All right, have at it. Let's see what we got. Another home run. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure if they're getting better or not. Oh, that is really good. You know, and you can taste that seasoning on the outside that we put on there. The seasoning, the ginger, the cumin, the paprika gives it that nice dark color. Running out of places to put things, but that's all right. We'll just put that there for now. But that roasted garlic is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Very good.
You know what? We're going to pull the other one off. It's close enough.
Time for the stuffing.
Round two.
Round 3. Fight.
Oh, that's a heavy one. All right, let me get this towel quick. Wipe this off. We have a fresh place to put things. There we are. All right, now you got to be careful with the ropes. Let's take a look at what we got inside. There, take a look at that. What do you think of that?
Oh.
That looks really good. Nice job on the stuffing there.
And it almost looks like a 3.
You know, 3's the most important number.
No, it's 4.
Ah, you stop with that. All right, let's cut a couple of pieces off the end here. We'll try it, and then we'll try some of this. We'll try the stuffing as well. Here, get you some. You want to try it? All right. Juicy, tender. Oh man, is that flavor good? Woo! Barbecue dance tonight, baby. All right. Well, as you can see, nothing we did was really hard. Anything that we did, you could do. You can do it on a regular grill. You can do it on anything that you have at home. The loin was about $2 a pound, so 8-pound loin was about $15, give or take a little. I think the price was great. Turned out amazing. We're gonna have some fun eating this tonight. Guys, thank you so much for coming in and checking out the videos. We really appreciate that. Hopefully you guys can try some of these things out on your own, see how they turn out for you. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, ring a ding the bell notification, comment below, let me know what you think of this or any of the other videos that we make. We greatly appreciate any comments you would like to leave. Until next time, gang, we made 3 different cuts out of one loin, 3 different ways to cook it. You can do it too. We'll see you next time.